Greetings, Bat family. Welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. Make sure you visit our website, holybatcast.com, or find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Search for Holy BatCast. You will find us. If you love the show, you want to help support us, you can do that. You can do that on Patreon. You go to patreon.com/holybatcast. You don't have to do it. We love you anyway, but those who do it, I said do. Those who do it, we love you just a little bit more. So thank you, patrons. You guys are amazing. You make our life so much easier, and I hope you know that we appreciate you. We are also part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. This episode, we're going to take a ride with some BatWheels. That's right. We have a new Batman animated series. It's not exactly, I think, what a lot of people pictured, but it still counts. We're going to talk about it. And joining me to talk about it, it's my good pal, my Bat pal. He took a break from his pumpkin spice and his scare-a-thon to talk to us, and we are grateful. It's Jamie Drewley. Hey, Jamie.
Well, I mean, currently, obviously, on a break from scare-a-thon, but the pumpkin spice is still present with my beverage here, so.
See, you can multitask. You can do both.
I'm finding ways to get things done here.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I appreciate you making the time, and it's good to be back. But I tell you, I feel a little out of practice, man.
It does feel like it's been a minute.
It's been a crazy couple weeks. Yeah. You know, I had vacation, then I got really, really, really sick, and it was horrible. Then we had a hurricane. So I hope that all our friends at home, our listeners, forgive the little bit of a gap. But man, life happens, and I had to get back amongst the land of the living and then wait for this hurricane to pass. Fortunately, everything's good. I'm alive. I'm vertical. I feel good. And we had no damage with the hurricane. So knock on wood. I don't know if this is real wood, but I'm just going to have to do right now. So we came through okay. But yeah, just a crazy couple weeks. So everybody out there listening, we appreciate your patience. And you know what? Like the silver lining gives you a chance to catch up on all your other shows. Right? Absolutely. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, a little break never hurt nobody. Sometimes it's good. Recharge your batteries.
And hey, on your benefit, it's a really good thing that hurricane happened when you were home from the cruise instead of on it.
That is also true. Yeah. So we went through our first Catherine's first. I'd done it before, but it had been many, many years. But it was Catherine's first. And so we weathered our first storm and all is well.
It's amazing how you can get used to certain things. Like I saw she made some kind of comment about I miss earthquakes or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
You know, people that have never been through an earthquake before, I'm sure crap their pants the first time they go through it. But, you know, people that have it happen a couple times a year, they're just like, wasn't even that bad. So, you know.
Let's say the first real earthquake I had when I lived in California, I was going to the bathroom at a urinal. And
that's unfortunate timing.
And the whole world started to shake, and I had to hold myself up, and I had flashbacks of like drunken nights in a bar trying to pee while holding myself up. So that trained me for that moment of my very first earthquake.
Yes. And they say alcohol doesn't do you any good.
See, you learn. What's the line from summer school? The reason most people shouldn't drive drunk is because they don't learn to drive drunk. Anyway, Jamie, good to be back. We are going to talk some BatWheels. Before we talk BatWheels, though, we know it is fall. It is still Fresh Ball Fall, and I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Manscaped. So welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. So join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code BATSCAPED, BATSCAPED. Go to manscaped.com, use that promo code, get a discount, save some money, participate in Fresh Ball Fall. My only complaint, I want some Fresh Ball Fall merch. I want a Fresh Ball Fall mug for my cider. I want a Fresh Ball Fall shirt that I can wear to work and make people feel uncomfortable. But guys, it's important. Groom, take care of your stuff, smell nice. And Manscaped is there to help you. They've got everything that you need, from trimmers to deodorant to shampoo, conditioner, body wash, foot deodorant, lotion, everything. They got everything that you could possibly need. Nose and ear trimmers, anything you can need to get into your own grooming routine. You know what? We men, we pretend we don't care how we look, but we do. We all want to look a little nice. We all want to feel pretty. So let Manscaped help you out. Do a little shopping at manscaped.com. But if you're going to buy something, please use the promo code BATSCAPED. Get the discount, get the free shipping, and then you're supporting Holy BatCast in the process. We would really appreciate that. So buy yourself something nice and participate in Fresh Ball Fall.
I'm still waiting on my pumpkin spice body wash and spray, but I haven't seen any yet.
No, I have not either. So I got to go with the old classic Manscaped scent, but it's still a good scent.
It's a great scent.
Yeah.
I have no complaints. I'm feeling that fall vibe right now, and I need all the help I can get there.
Yeah, I'm with you. So big thank you to Manscaped. Guys, if you're out there and you want to do a little shopping, again, go to Manscaped and again, use that promo code BATSCAPED. We'd appreciate it. So we have a lot of stuff to catch up on. And I don't mean like news, because like honestly, news has been kind of quiet recently.
Sometimes that can be a blessing.
But
though.
I'm not mad at it, honestly. Like it's nice to take a break. But we got some content, we've got BatWheels. I made a list of all the episodes I want to do over the next few weeks. And I was like, oh crap, like things are piling up, but like, that's kind of fun. And one of the first things I did want to talk about was BatWheels. So BatWheels, the secret origin of BatWheels, it did premiere a couple of weeks ago on HBOMax, and we watched it. And so we want to share our thoughts. So here we go. It is time to talk about the secret origin of BatWheels. Okay, the secret origin of BatWheels was on September 17th, so it's almost been a month now? That feels fast.
2-3 weeks anyway, yeah.
Time goes fast. Okay, so the secret origin of BatWheels, it is on HBO Max currently. That is where I watched it. Right now, it is just the pilot that it's out there. I don't think the regular show has started officially yet, but it's a little bit longer than I assume the real show is going to be, because it's 33 minutes, and we get the origin of how the BatWheels came to be. So we have a heck of a voice cast here. Ethan Hawke is Batman. Xolo Maridueña, who is going to be our Blue Beetle. He is Snowy, the Snowcrawler. And Jacob Bertrand, who is Hawk from Cobra Kai. He's Bam. He's the Batmobile. So we've got the Batmobile, the Batwing, the Batgirl cycle, the Redbird, and the big Batman monster truck. His the heck is his name? I'm blanking. Buff. Yes. And then we also have the villainous vehicles. We've got the Joker's car. We've got Harley Quinn's. We have Mr. Freeze's. We have the Riddler's helicopter, and we have the Penguin's Duckmobile. So basically, it starts with this big, long, extended action sequence of Batman, Robin, and Batgirl in their vehicles chasing the villains down. Very cool action scene, and they capture all the villains. They capture all their vehicles. The vehicles all go get impounded, and Batman, Robin, and Batgirl get picked up by a limo because they're going to be given the keys to the city. So away they go. While this happens, there's an intruder in the Batcave. And so the Bat computer is working with Mo. Mo is like a robotic butler. Kind of I think an Alfred surrogate, but sillier. And so Mo and the Bat computer come up with a plan where they put a motherboard into the Batmobile to help protect the Batcave from this intruder, since Batman can't be contacted. So the Batmobile comes to life. They call him Bam. He manages to fight off this intruder that is a green and yellow robot. So I felt like he was like a Sprite robot. Maybe one. It was just like the fresh taste of Lyman. Um, and even though he gets sent on his way, he manages to steal more of the motherboards, and then he goes back to where all the villain vehicles are. And we find out the mastermind is a big scoreboard. And did you happen to catch the scoreboard's name, Jamie?
I did, but I've already forgotten it.
It was the Bad Computer,
Bat, yes.
which is not to be confused with the Bat Computer. And so, yeah, he is this mastermind. And so they put the motherboards into the villainous vehicles and they become the Legion of Zoom, which I liked.
Is it wrong
I
that,
liked.
I mean, the show kind of shamed me because he said Legion of Zoom, and I kind of chuckled. And then they started saying, "Oh, that's no good," and started coming up with another name. I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't supposed to like that."
That's what I thought too. I was like, Legion of Zoom, that's great. And then they kind of acted like, oh, that's not very good. But then they still end up being the Legion of Zoom. So doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So yeah, so we've got the team of villain vehicles, and so Bam needs his own team, so they put the motherboards in the rest of the vehicles, and they become the BatWheels. And so the BatWheels race off to stop the villainous vehicles, and the first time they don't do a good job because they match up really weird, you know, like the Batgirl cycle, who's BB, takes on the Riddler's helicopter, who's I think its name is Quiz.
That sounds right.
Which you're like, oh, why would the motorcycle take on the helicopter? And so they're really weird matchups, and the BatWheels, they don't do so well. And then they're like, no, we got to use our heads. And so then they match up in a way that makes sense. Bam takes on the Joker van, and the BB takes on the Harley. It's kind of a Harley, almost like a dune buggy. And
With
it's
a hyena
called,
head on it.
yeah, with a hyena head. And I think it's called Prank. I don't have all the names in front of me, but they all have cute names. But anyway, then they all match up in a way that makes sense. Then the BatWheels prevail. They defeat the villainous vehicles because they use their heads. And at the same time, Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, like they were being kidnapped by this limo. They learned it. They also use their heads to escape. And so the BatWheels come and meet them where they've escaped and take them home. And there will be further adventures in the future with the BatWheels. So there you go, 33 minutes. Very easy to watch. And Jamie, what did you think?
Finally, after years of begging for it, someone delivered to me the dark, gritty, realistic Batman show that I've asked for.
Yeah, I exactly. It's set in the real world. It's grounded.
Right. Yeah, because
Yep.
all streets are shiny and glassy like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously though, this show is not made for me, but I still enjoyed it. It is the show that I've asked right along. Something like this needs to be around for that younger audience. If you've got that, like 4 to 8-ish audience in your house that's just developing a taste for something superhero like or any of that, this is just right up their alley. This is ideal content for that age bracket, that entry level gateway thing to a larger universe of DC characters. And I think they did a really admirable job in presenting it in a way that age bracket will appreciate, keep their attention focused on it. And you can tell it's made by fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Easter eggs that are in there, the Bat Cave with the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the penny and
the Joker card. Yeah.
The Joker card. Right. I mean, there's a couple references made with dialogue that are not coming to me, but we'll probably cover it at some point. Then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Well, there's a moment early on where during the big opening action scene where Mr. Freeze says something icy and the Joker's like, Mr. Freeze and his ice puns.
Yep. So the thing that surprised me the most about the show is how involved the human characters were in it. Like they weren't the focal point of the show, but they were involved and they were in it, at the beginning and at the end, but there was, touch and base with them in the middle also. I just figured it was going to be one of those things. They're going to take them off the board and it's going to be all the vehicles from here on, but they still kept Batman, Batgirl, and Robin involved in it. And I appreciated that. I thought that was a nice touch because even though it may be vehicle centric, those are still, characters that people love and tune into.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that they have a lot of diversity involved with the characters. I think that was great.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. I thought that was a really smart choice in a way that doesn't feel unnatural, but shifting up the ethnicities of a lot of the characters just to have more diversity, I thought was really smart. So Mr. Freeze is black, the Riddler is Asian. Um, they're using Duke Thomas as Robin, so he is also black. Batgirl appears to be Latin. It's
That would be
unclear,
my
but
guess. It's kind of vague. It's not really touched upon. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think it
it's hard
needs
to
to
tell
be.
for sure, but she has a darker complexion and she wore a mask the whole time, so I couldn't tell. But I think she was supposed to be Latin, which could have been because they knew they were getting a Latin live action Batgirl, which that didn't quite work out. But
Too soon, Andy. Let's not talk about that.
I know, but I do wonder if that was like a going, oh wait, hey, we know this thing is coming, let's make her Latin in the show. But I liked some of the race swapping of the characters just because it makes sense and I think that it all worked for me.
Yeah, and again, and we've touched on this before. Some of us just don't have a grasp or understanding of how important it is for especially young audiences to see characters that look and like and represent them.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm all for it. I think that was a great touch. I thought the humor was good. I mean, it's not the most amazing writing or the necessarily in a lot of cases the most clever stuff, but I mean they know who their audience is and they're really trying to get that appeal to them. They're not trying to make things too big for a younger mind to understand, but they're also, it doesn't feel to me like they're really talking down to these kids either. So I appreciated that balance that they put forth there.
Yeah.
So in all, I really liked it. I think there's a lot more to like about this show than I don't. I think the designs are really cool. Of course, you can make a lot of comparisons to like the Cars universe for Pixar or what have you, which it's fine. But some of it feels a little over polished, too bright of colors, stuff like that. I mean, if I want to get nitpicky, which I really don't, but I mean, if I'm going to say something negative about the show, I think it's almost too computerized, too clean, maybe. I don't know. But
Mm.
overall, I just really don't have much to complain about with this show. I think they did a really nice job, and I think they're just hitting the beats they need to entertain the audience that it's made for.
Well, yeah, and you also you go in knowing what this show is and who
Sure,
it's made for. And so any of those complaints, like I can't really make because it's like, oh, it's too colorful. Well, of course it is. It's for kids. Like you want it to be as pleasing to the eye as possible for children. So yeah, it's extremely colorful, but I'm into that. I'm like, great. It should be. It's beautiful. It's pretty to look at. It looks like candy. I and I don't think there's a problem with that because that's what your audience wants. Everything should be pleasing to look at.
certainly.
Um, I will say, going into this, the way they talked about it, the way it's been marketed, it is for preschoolers. They say it's for preschoolers. So what's that, like 3 or 4 years old?
Yeah,
And knowing that that was the audience they were aiming for, I was like, okay, it'll be cute to look at, but my guess is it will be like kind of hard to watch. It'll be very simplistic. It'll be a little dumb. And I didn't find that to be the case at all. It doesn't feel like it's made for 3 or 4 year olds. Like you said, maybe 4 to 8. I could see an 8 or a 10-year-old really enjoying this too, because it's not that dumbed down. It's not that kiddified. The visuals are very, I think, attractive to kids' eyes, but I think that there's enough story and enough character and enough action that it was very easy for me to watch. I enjoyed it. I was like, I'm entertained by this. I love the designs. I think they all look great. Um, a lot of them are tweaked, but I think in a very fun way. Like I really like how Mr. Freeze and his helmet is more of an ice cube,
hmm
and he's wearing like a ski cap on his head in the ice cube helmet. And I'm like, yeah, like that's a softer, gentler way to do Mr. Freeze, and I'm here for it. I think the Joker looks great. Like I don't love the red nose, but hey, whatever. He still looks and sounds like the Joker, and I think he's cute. Um, the Riddler looks great. Like I really love his outfit. I like that they did the leotard, but also the bowler hat and the mask. And I think he looks good. Like all of the character designs I found to be very pleasing. The penguin looks great. I think he looks really cool. And I love how Batman looks. I
Yeah.
love that it's a very colorful Batman. I like, yeah, the designs overall I think are really good. My nitpick is I don't like that Batgirl's like just wearing a headband because I feel like that would just fly off when you're doing
Yeah.
anything
I
other
mean,
than walking.
they've done so much tweaking with Batgirl and comics and pretty much everywhere else that I've just come to accept that they're just going to keep messing around with it to keep it fresh or something. I don't know. It's like I feel like there's like maybe one iconic look for Batgirl, and that's really kind of the Batgirl from the '66 TV series, and everything else is just trying to find its footing,
Mhm.
especially with the headgear with Batgirl. So
Yeah. Well, and I think when she's got the helmet on, I think she looks great. But then when her helmet's off, it's just a headband. And I'm like, oh, I just feel like that would fly off. But again, maybe it's to show more of her hair. I don't know.
yeah. Well,
And it's
I
such a
think I like
minor
that more than
thing.
I like the domino mask style Batgirl that they've tried to push in
Mhm,
recent
mhm.
times. But
But yeah, I mean, I think Robin looks good. I overall, I think the designs are really strong. I like the character designs of the humans, and I like the vehicle designs. I think they're really cute too. Like if I go to Target and they're selling a multi-pack of all the vehicles, heroes and villains, I'm probably gonna buy them because they're very cute. Like I honestly, I think I like the villain vehicles better than I like the Bat vehicles because they each have such a great, unique design to them. Like I love the snowy Mr. Freeze vehicle. I love the duck for the penguin. I love the hyena dune buggy for Harley. I think that all of them look really good. So visually, I find it very pleasing, and I really enjoyed it to the point where I was like, yeah, I would buy toys of this, and
yeah.
I assume they will come out with toys, and I will buy them in air quotes for Harley. She's just not allowed to play with them.
And there's just little tweaks on some of the vehicles that I thought are nice touches. Like the Joker's car has the bat symbol with the red line through it, circling the
Mm-hmm,
line.
mm-hmm,
I found that humorous. I like the fact that Buff, the monster truck, if you look at the tread on his tires, it's the bat symbol.
mm-hmm.
So just little tweaks and touches like that I appreciated that they put some effort in there. Like it doesn't feel lazy in any way,
Yeah,
and I appreciate that because watching as much children's programming as I have over the years with my three kids, you can see sometimes people making these shows care enough to go the extra mile, and sometimes they're just lazy and think, oh hell, they're not going to catch it anyway, so why bother?
yeah, and I think that's it. Like it could look cheap, but it really doesn't. The animation is really well done. It looks great. It's very impressive. It's very smooth. It's very well designed. They do sort of the 2D hybrid with some of the effects like the smoke and fire and stuff, which I think is just a nice stylistic choice. Um, but like, yeah, like Gotham looks really cool and Wayne Manor looks cool. And I like that they did the Wayne Manor. I want to say it's similar to like the Lego Batman movie where Wayne Manor almost has bat ears. And I think that that's kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Um, like I like just yeah, the design work from that the team did on this I thought was great, and I watched it. Harley was in the room, but she had better things to worry about, like trying to walk, which is what she's doing these days. But I was like, I could totally see a kid liking this, but like I liked it way more than I expected to. It's just a cute, fun show, and I think the action is well done too. Like that whole big opening action scene of Batman, Robin, and Batgirl versus the five villains was so much fun.
Agreed. Yeah.
And to your point, it's just refreshing to get Batman content that is aimed squarely at kids.
Sure.
It's unfortunately that is more the exception than the rule these days. And so to get something like this, I hope kids love it, because it's the gateway drug of a whole new generation of Batman fans.
And I think sometimes, and again, it's easier for me to point these things out because I've had kids and I've had to be cautious about what I let my kids watch, not just in Batman, but in anything with movies and animated and comics and all that stuff. So I had a sensitivity in that I wanted more of that content, and I found less and less of it as things went on. And things started leaning more mature. And I don't have a problem with mature content, but I want to balance, because what I think a lot of us don't think about is most of us fell in love with Batman at a very, very young age.
Yeah.
And I see less opportunities with that happening now than when we were somewhere between that 5 and 12 age range. It just doesn't seem to have a lot available to do that with that isn't classic stuff. And again, nothing wrong with introducing kids to classic stuff. I don't have that problem. But sometimes when your kids are like mine, they're judgy about old timey things, as they call them. So
Yeah.
showing my kids Super Friends always just made them laugh. They don't understand that was some state of the art shit in the late 70s and early 80s. So,
Right.
so
We
having
lived for that. Come on.
this fresh, up to date, modern thing for that age bracket to be able to embrace something in the DC universe, I think is fantastic. And I haven't watched the League of Super Pets yet, but I'm hoping that it's along those same lines as well.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that's on my list of something we got to catch up on, especially now that it's on HBO Max.
I was going to say it's on HBO Max now, so anytime you just let me know.
Yeah. Well, it's on the to-do list. Maybe
Preferably
in the next
after Scarathon, because I got a lot of stuff I need to get watched here in the next 3 weeks.
I know, dude. I know it, but it's also an easy watch. And you're right. That is how I feel about this and about Super Pets. I mean, we all had that same reaction when Super Pets, and frankly, when this was announced, of like, really? But as you like to say or remind us, not everything is made for us. And the older I get, the more zen I get about that, of going, yeah, like, for Batman, our favorite character, for him to continue to have the longevity that he has, you got to have content for everyone. And some of it works better for me than others, and for you and for other fans. And and we all don't agree on what the best Batman content is, but the beauty is that there's a great variety, that you will find something that you do like. And again, I hope that there are a bunch of kids who are going to watch this. And I did look, the series premieres officially on Cartoon Network on October 15th. So coming up in about a week and a half.
So no HBO Max, just Cartoon Network?
Well, that's what it says here. I don't know when it will hit HBO Max. I hope it does. I hope it does, like after it airs, it'll come to HBO Max, but I'm not clear on if and when that will happen.
All right. Well, I can think of a lot worse ways to kill 20 minutes and watching more of this show,
Oh, that's just it. And it's like, if it's readily available, like once it hits HBO Max or whatever, I will watch it. I will continue to watch it. And this was something I did not think I would. I thought, oh, I'll watch the first one because it's Batman and I want to see it. But I enjoyed it enough that I'm like, yeah, I'll keep watching this on Saturday morning with my cereal. It's really cute. It's really fun. It's a good time. So I'm happily surprised that it was as enjoyable as it was. It's not going to change your life. It's not super deep. Don't get me wrong, but for a kid's Batman animated series, it's cute as hell, and I really like it.
And this isn't even one of those things where you got to say, well, you just turn your brain off and enjoy it. I don't feel like that's the show they're making here. Again, it's not lazy, and it doesn't talk down to its audience. It definitely presents itself in a way that's very age appropriate friendly, but it doesn't talk down to them. It doesn't demean them in any way. And in fact, a lot of the shows that my kids watched growing up, like Wonder Pets and things like that, they always had some kind of a moral to the story, which was fine because kids, they absorb a lot of stuff at that age. This one was basically telling all of the vehicles and whatnot, embrace your diversity and how you're different, and know that you're valuable and can contribute, even though you may not do it the same way as everybody else. And that's not, to me, preaching or anything like that. It's showing kids it's okay to be different. It's fine. Know your value and learn how to use your gifts in your own way. And that's cool. That, to me, that's a good, solid message without being, overly preachy, because I just don't have a better word to use than that.
No, it's true though, because you're right. Like, there is a nice moment where Bam is like, well, I can't be Batman and I'm not Batman, but maybe I can still be a hero by being me. Right. And you're right. It's a very simple, but it's a very nice message for kids. And then the other one is the fact that, like, use your head, stop, think through the problem. And that's what the BatWheels do. And then that's what Batman, Robin, and Batgirl do as well. It's like they're able to succeed by using their head, which is also a very nice, straightforward moral for kids who are watching this.
Yeah, and we all love to see Batman kicking some butt. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that Batman's telling people, that's not always the best way. Sometimes the best way is to just think about the situation and see if you can find the solution. And that's good. That's good for kids to know that they don't have to go punch somebody in the mouth to solve every problem they got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
So, not that I think we should rely on children's programming to teach our kids all the lessons they need to learn. That's really a parent's job, but parents can use all the help they can get, as you can now vouch for as well, that raising kids is a busy process. So any help parents can get should be a welcome item.
Oh, I'm delegating all morals to BatWheels. I've decided. Sorry,
you could do a lot worse
busy.
From what I've seen so far.
I got stuff to do. I'll be like, Harley, you just watch BatWheels and He-Man. Let me know what they taught you.
Oh, just wait till you start going on family trips and the Wagon Queen family truckster and the iPad gets in her hand. You'll never hear another peep out of her again.
What did you think of Ethan Hawke's voice as Batman?
I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to bring it up twice and I keep slipping my mind, but I thought he was great.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, for a second there, I forgot it was Ethan Hawke, and I was like, did they get Diedrich Bader to do this? Because I'm a big fan of Diedrich Bader's Batman. And
yeah, of course. He's
Ethan's
awesome.
Batman, it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. And I think he does a great job. And I really hope that the human characters stay this involved in any episodes going forward, because of course this is vehicle centric and that's what the show's focus is. But I like having the human element in there with these recognizable heroes to share the wealth of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I know it's called BatWheels and we're going to have to focus on the vehicles, and that's fine, but I agree with you. I really liked Ethan Hawke's Batman voice. It is very Batman, but it's still unique enough, and I liked it. But I liked the designs for Batman and the Bat family, as well as the Rogues Gallery, so much that I was like, oh, I hope they still find a way to continue to integrate them in future episodes, because I really like them all. I think they're all really cool and they're really fun. And I hope they can find a balance where we can see them every episode or some of them,
Sure. Yeah. If it's a 22-minute episode, give us 3 or 4 minutes with the humans, then the rest of the time with the vehicles. I think that's sufficient. Or even the computer, Bat Computer, I thought was a good character too. And her design is even really cool, I think.
Yeah. I thought that was cool too.
And the Jumbotron thing, I mean, a quick shout out back to that. That was just funny to me.
It was probably one of the funniest bits. And again, like, that is funny in a way that I don't think kids would get it, but we would. So I appreciate that.
And I want to ask you about a choice that's made with this show. And I think I know why, but I want to get your take on it, because usually you're really insightful about this sort of thing. So the one thing that I kind of didn't really like, but I made peace with it very quickly, was the fact that they said, even though you're a living computer or automobile now, you're not going to be able to interact with the people the way that you will with us and each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of was disappointed by that, because I think having the characters be able to interact with the humans would be super cool, but maybe they want to keep that, for lack of something better to call it, that magical element, kind of like the Toy Story thing.
Yeah.
Where they want the kids to buy the toys for this show and think, hey, maybe when I'm not in the room, these toys are going to interact and talk to each other. And that's pretty cool. And I like that. So do you think that's why that choice was made, or is there something else I'm not thinking of?
No, I think that you're right. It was interesting that they did that. I mean, I'm even going to take a step back even more, is that when this show was announced, I just figured, oh, the cars talk. And I didn't think they would give a reason for why. I just thought, oh, the cars will talk, like in Cars, right? And
Sure.
so I'm a little impressed that they decided, no, we still want to write in some logic as to why they're alive. I mean, yes, it's a bit of a MacGuffin, these magical motherboards that bring them to life, but the fact that they went to that length of trying to explain of how that could happen, I was like, wow, okay, they are actually trying to put some logic there, where, again, it's a kid's show. They could have just said, the Batmobile's live. Who cares? So I was impressed by that, but I do think that it was an interesting choice to set that rule of, okay, you guys are alive. You're a team, but Batman and Robin and Batgirl will never know it. They won't be able to know that you're alive. And I think that it's setting the rule for the Batwheels to go on their own adventures, independent of Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. And at the same time, you're right. It's kind of that Toy Story thing where it's like, oh, they have their own life outside of what they do with the Bat family. And so, yeah, I just think it was it was a conceit I think they wrote for the show just so the Batwheels can be an independent unit separate from Batman, Robin, Batgirl.
Okay. Well, with the announcements of the show, I didn't follow a lot of it really closely. Frankly, really the only things that I've given any attention to are the stuff that we brought up briefly on this show leading up to it. I just assumed the whole universe was going to be Cars style, where it was just vehicles, that Ethan Hawke was going to be the voice of the Batmobile. I didn't realize there even was going to be a human element to the show at all until I actually sat down and watched it tonight before recording.
Oh, wow. And again, and maybe it's also a way for them to go, this is not the Cars universe. There are humans there, and then that is why there's a reason for these specific vehicles that they're alive, but the rest of the vehicles in this world are not. Again, just sort of setting the rules for what the show is.
Yeah. Just curious what you thought about that, because
I thought it was an interesting choice, but again, it also makes sense is that otherwise you've got like Batman having conversations with the Batmobile, and then they just become more members of the Bat family, and then the show's not as much about them. And I think that's what it's about. It's about letting the Batwheels sort of live in their own little world and have some independence.
Yeah.
Aside.
When Bam is talking to the Bat computer, and he's like, "You mean I can talk to Batman?" And she's like, "No, you won't. They won't be able to know that you're alive." And I was like, "Oh." And I just felt like that took something away from it. But like I say, I recovered very, very quickly of it, because I was like, okay, you're doing your own thing. You have a reason for doing this. I'll go with it. And I got over it quickly. But I feel like I would enjoy it if Batman had, a Batmobile that he could go into action with and have a conversation with and all that stuff. Because, I mean, obviously he talks to the Bat computer, right? I mean, what's the difference between that and talking to the car, I guess?
Yeah.
Like I say, I didn't care for the choice at first, but it took me all of about 15 to 30 seconds to get over it. So
yeah. Well, all right. Oh, Harley's having a bath.
Harley's not happy about it either. I hear that.
She's like, I want Batman and Batmobile to talk and have a good time. All right. Secret origin of the Batwheels. It is on HBOMax if you've got HBOMax. And then it seems like the first couple episodes on Cartoon Network are going to be this. Cut in two, maybe? Oh, no, they're just going to show it twice, 2 days in a row. Interesting.
All right, then. Kids do like repetitive things,
Yeah. I will be curious as to how long a regular episode is. Is like, are they going to do a full 22 minutes, or are they going to do the 11 minutes like Teen Titans Go?
I don't know. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
They assume kids have short attention spans, but
yeah, just curious. I think it's also worth
kids obviously love repetitive, because let me tell you about how many times I've seen the episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends where the video game thing goes through all the electrical circuits. Boy, I feel like I saw that like 7 Saturdays in a row at one point.
Oh, okay.
You know the episode I'm talking about?
No.
Oh.
Are you talking about like the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the 80s show or the with show?
The 80s show. With Firestar and Iceman. And there was like this electro-looking thing that came out of the video game, and it could travel through like electric wires and phone circuits and all that stuff.
Interesting.
I'm serious. I really think it was probably 6 or 7 Saturdays in a row, because at one point I was like, cool, this episode again. And then like a month later, I was like, really, this episode again? Can't you give me the X-Men episode again, please?
I know. It's funny that you bring that show up. I'm just going to say, stay tuned to the Real Fans feed for this year's Halloween special.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll just say that.
Let me just go on a limb and say, most of you probably know Spider-Man is far from my favorite thing in all of geekdom, but I respect good when I see good. And that theme song for that show, Hall of Famer, baby.
Oh, it's
If
great.
I if I
So
could get
good.
that for a ringtone, I would, because it's the whip. I love it.
Yep. Speaking of this has a couple little catchy little ditties and BatWheels too. I'll say,
The music was not my favorite part, but again, I have to resign myself to they're not targeting 47-year-old guys that have teenage kids. They're targeting the young kids, and that's the kind of kids bop stuff that they want to hear or would enjoy. They don't want to hear like death metal riffs in there. That's not this show.
well, there's like a little Legion of Zoom like mini song, but then the BatWheels theme song. I agree, it's not the greatest song, but it's still been stuck in my head all damn day. Like, I don't even love the song, but all I keep hearing in my head is "They're the BatWheels, four-wheel fighters of crime." It is an earworm, even if it's not a great song. So
That's what
beware,
you want. You want kids walking around singing
yeah,
that in their house.
beware, friends. That BatWheel song, it might get stuck in there, and it ain't gonna leave. So I apologize. And then there's one other thing I wanted to mention, just because I think it's worth noting, is that in the BatWheels, there's five of them. There's Bam the Batmobile. There's the Redbird. Which is kind of like one of those like mini racing cars. I don't know what the real name of those are. You probably know better than I do.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a Fast and Furious design thing.
Yeah. But there's the Redbird. There is Buff, the monster truck, which is kind of random, but hey, we need a big, strong one. There is BB, the Batgirl cycle, and then there is the Batwing. But what I wanted to mention is how the Batmobile is very much inspired by the Burton Batmobile.
Oh, certainly.
And the
And
Batwing,
the only thing I would change about Buff is I would have made him the Dark Knight Returns Batmobile, but
that's not a bad idea.
that's
Yeah.
leaning a little hard there, I think. So
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is, and then the Batwing also seems pretty strongly inspired by the Burton one. So I just feel like it's always a testament to a design when it just keeps popping back up because of how iconic it is. And so for this to use those iconic designs, or at least use them as a base, makes a lot of sense, but also makes them instantly recognizable.
sure. And going back to my diversity comment from earlier, hats off to these guys for leaning so much on the balance of male female thing going on there too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was a very nice touch.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because sometimes this genre, subgenre, comicdom in general has a tendency of leaving the fairer sex behind, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And there is a voice listed for Catwoman, so I guess that means we will meet her sooner than later.
All right then.
FYI. And it's Gina Rodriguez.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big fan. I like her.
And there's also a Nightwing in the cast list, so we will see him sooner than later too, I guess.
Boy, for these motherboards being so irreplaceable, they sure are going to be mass marketing these things.
Yeah,
quick,
right? All right, BatWheels, give me some closing thoughts and then we'll move forward.
If you got young pups in the house that you want in on this kind of stuff, here's the show to do it with. I mean, I don't know how much more simple and plain I can say it. I mean, this is an ideal gateway drug for the larger DC universe as your kids get older. Teen Titans Go was very much that show for my kids. I think this is going to fill the gap for the next age bracket behind them. So, Harley's going to be a little young for it, but if you've got kids that are in that, like I say, I feel like 4 to 8 is probably about your ideal range for this. But, every kid's different. So, if you got a 3-year-old that's hip to it or an 11-year-old, whatever, man, let them get into it however they want. But I think this show is really good. I think it's off to a good start. I think it's doing right messaging without banging people over the head with the message. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's entertaining. It's well done. It's not lazy, and good designs with the characters and the vehicles both. And I found it to be pretty delightful, to be honest with you. So I'm going to give it an A.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Delightful is a great word for it. I think it is. It's so much better than I think we expected. It's a really nice surprise. It's really nice to look at. The character designs are great. The animation is very pleasing. It's fun. It's light. It's just a good time. And yes, it's perfect for kids of that age bracket. But yeah, you're going to catch me watching it by myself because it was pretty easy to watch. And again, goes perfectly with the bowl of Count Chocula in the morning. So
I'll tell you what, if you want to have a watch party, I'll be happy to join you on that.
yeah, I'm in. So
And
I
I don't
really
imagine
enjoyed it.
your wife would be put off by this either. I'm just guessing.
Nah. Oh, do you know what's great about my wife though? Is
Which
since
part? I mean, just everything.
there's quite a few, but she's
She's amazing. She's amazing.
no, since this came on HBO Max, she just kept going, when are we gonna watch BatWheels?
See what I mean? There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I already watched it. She goes, no, I wanted to watch it. I was like, okay, I'll watch it again with you.
Your wife would be like, when are we going to watch Batgirls? And my wife would walk into the room and go, what the hell are you watching? So, I love my wife. She's a wonderful person, but she just doesn't have the taste for this stuff like yours does.
I know. So, all right. Well, BatWheels, go check it out, guys. It's super fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy to report that it's great. It's delightful. It's lovely. And as Harley gets a little older, I'm going to keep watching it with her, and we'll see what happens.
So now for our little fall break infomercial here. You keep mentioning your Count Chocula and your Monster cereal and all that stuff. And my favorite local brewery is doing a line called Serial Killer beers that are inspired by the Monster cereals.
Oh.
And that pizza place that's a few miles south of me that I still shamefully have not been to, called Famous Monster, that shows classic horror films, Universal stuff, and decked out in the whole thing. And the whole menu is monster based. They have Frankenberry, Blueberry, and Count Chocula milkshakes right now.
Oh, my man.
So my butt will be getting down there sooner than later now.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, cool. We do have some emails to answer, but before we do that, I also want to tell you about another new friend of the show, another new sponsor, and that is True Classic T-shirts. So today's episode is also sponsored by True Classic. Guys, we got to talk about T-shirts. Finding the perfect fitting shirt can be tough. It can be terrible. It's either too tight or, too big and boxy. It might be too tight in one spot, too loose in another. True Classic wants to make you look good, wants to make every man look good. So it's got a tighter fit in the chest and sleeves to make your arms pop, and room in the torso to keep things cozy. I'm telling you, all the styles are super soft and a great price for what you're getting. So no excuses. Get rid of those ratty t-shirts, the one that don't flatter your body. Don't do that. Upgrade. Check out True Classic. And just like our other sponsor, we got a deal for you. You can get 25% off. Go to trueclassic.com, get 25% off with the promo code BatCast. So I just got my True Classic t-shirts. I wore mine. I wore the first one yesterday because they literally came 2 days ago. I wore it yesterday, and I'll tell you, they're not graphic tees. They are plain tees, but they're like a nice, stylish, plain tee that like looks like you've dressed up, but you still get to wear a comfy t-shirt. So I put it on for work, and because I like wearing t-shirts to work, but I also had a meeting, so I was like, oh, this is a nice compromise. And I walked out, and Catherine's like, ooh, I like that color on you, and that looks really good. And I was like, oh, well then great, they did their job. Good job, True Classic, because it was flattering on me, and my wife said something without me even asking, do you like those? I didn't have to say a word. She goes, ooh, it looks good on you. So all right, True Classic. So if you guys are looking for nice, soft, high-quality t-shirts that'll make you look good, you can dress them up, go to trueclassic.com. And again, you get 25% off with the promo code BatCast. Jamie, did you try yours yet?
No, but I bet they're sitting out in my mailbox right now.
I bet you they are.
Mail, so.
I bet you they are. I think
we might get our mail like once every 7 to 10 days. We're really bad about that.
Take the 3-mile walk to your mailbox and go get your t-shirt.
It's not 3 miles. It's like 1/4 mile round trip.
Okay. Well, do that, and I want to hear your report back next time. But yeah, True Classic t-shirts. Big thank you to them for reaching out to us about the show. And so yeah, again, if you guys are out there and you need to buy some t-shirts and you want to get ones that are tailored and fit to look good on your body, no matter what, give True Classic a try. Go to trueclassic.com, and again, BatCast for 25% off. All right, now let's check in with you fine feathered finks and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
What what do we got here? First message is from Matthew Harridge. Sorry, Matthew. Not sure how to say the last name. I hope you'll forgive me. He said, I'm surprised we haven't gotten any news on the new Superman animated series that was announced at the same time as Caped Crusader. With the news that the Batman show is being sold off, I don't have a good feeling about Big Blue. The initial designs we got didn't pique my interest much, but I was looking forward to more Superman content. So what are your thoughts on the silence we've gotten towards the show? It's a good point, Matthew. There's been a lot of talk about Batman Cape Crusader, but the Superman show, it has gone quiet. Jamie, what do you think?
I don't even have any recollection of a Superman show being announced.
Google it. It's real.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like if anybody's getting shorted from any which direction right now, it's Superman. So
yeah.
It doesn't bode well if Cape Crusader didn't make it to HBOMax, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, but more Superman content would certainly be welcomed by me. And that's another character that's just ideal to appeal to a younger audience if done in a respectful way, much like what BatWheels is. Like, get Superman involved in BatWheels and make him have the old superpowers vehicle that's like the spaceship with the fists on the side. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Make that his vehicle. Get him in BatWheels.
Great. Oh, yeah. The one that they're selling again now at Walmart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've reissued a new version of it.
Wow.
Yeah, the character designs were very anime inspired, not entirely, but they did feel closer in that vein. But I was looking forward to it, and you're right, it's gone quiet. I will say I'm not hopeful, because it seems like David Zaslav does not place a lot of value on animation unless he can sell it. So I think the best case is they do what they're doing with Cape Crusader and try to sell it to someone else. But because there hasn't been any word, I'm afraid it might have quietly died, which I agree is a bummer because I would have loved to have seen the show as well.
I feel like Superman the Animated Series is beloved amongst our circles, but it really doesn't seem to get a lot of activity of just, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, like the common folk discussion, because I feel like just about anybody can have a discussion about Batman the Animated Series, but I don't feel like the Superman Animated Series had that kind of exposure or more well-known respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
I love the show
it's so
myself,
weird because it's a great show.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It just didn't have the same impact. So Matthew, we're with you. We'll keep our ears to the ground, see what happens. Next message is from Skip. It says, BatWheels. You read that right. BatWheels is a hit, at least in my house with my 2.5-year-old. In all seriousness, after watching episode 1, this is a great preschool intro to Batman, the family, and his rogues. Good on DC for putting something out that can compete with Spidey and his amazing friends. If you want to do a recap in a couple of years, let's get our kiddos together to record. Has anyone else watched? Just curious. All the best, Skip. Skip!
That's pretty
We
timely.
agree. Yeah. This episode's for you. We're with you. I can't even say it's a hit with my kid. It's a hit with me.
What do you say the kid was? 2.5?
2.5. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I misjudged that age bracket then.
That works,
Like
though.
I
I
say,
mean,
every kid's different, so.
but I could see that. I could see a 2.5-year-old being mesmerized by just the show because of how pretty it is.
I'll prove how every kid's different. My son, he turned 14 yesterday as we record this.
Hey, happy birthday.
And he is a late bloomer as far as his growth spurts and everything else. Like, he's still one of the 3 tallest kids in the class and everything, but he hasn't really hit any of those moments in life, if you will. And yesterday when he came downstairs, I asked him a question about what he was cooking for breakfast, and he responded. And I swear to you, it sounded like he was getting ready to do Barry White karaoke. His voice was so deep.
Oh.
I was like, wow, that's like you hit 14 and instantly it just happens. Okay.
Growing. I mean, that's about the right age. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, 13,
yeah.
14, right?
You
So
know, a lot of the other kids in his class that are actually younger than him, they hit their growth spurts early already. And that, some of them start to have the little peach fuzz mustaches come in. My son's got like this one weird straggler hair coming off his chin right now, which is kind of fun. Anyway, my point is every kid's different. So
yeah, for sure. All right, next email is from Brian B. It says, hey guys, I hope things are going well and you're ready for the best month of the year. Andy, I have to say I got the biggest laugh when you compared DC News with the Simpsons frozen yogurt episode. My friend and I literally do the same thing whenever the Giants make a bad draft pick or have a bad signing, which sadly has been many lately. My question is this: with Young Justice sadly over, are you disappointed that we never saw the final battle against Darkseid? I emailed about this a few months ago when I saw Greg Wiseman said he'd never have a true ending to the show. But as much as I love the show, I feel like it kind of was like the claw machine where you always thought you could get something and then never did. I always feel let down about this despite my love for the show. Also, what animated comic book show would you want revived? Personally, I would do the Spectacular Spider-Man, Wolverine and the X-Men, or Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was so underrated. For DC, I'd say the Green Lantern animated series or the Legion of Superheroes. Lastly, what would be your Mount Rushmore of John Carpenter films? I'd say Halloween, Escape from New York, The Thing, and maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but The Fog. I also think Prince of Darkness is his secret great movie, and I enjoy it more as the years go by. As always, thanks for your hard work. Enjoy October with all the spookiness, Brian B. Thanks, Brian B. Great to hear from you. All right, first question. Young Justice, are we bummed we're not going to see the Darkseid payoff? Yes.
Are we confirmed on that? Is that
not confirmed, but
we feel pretty comfortable in saying?
Yeah, I mean, it seems odds are not good. How about that?
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, I'd love it if we could at least get some closure with it and give them a movie or give them a 6-episode mini season or something just to wrap it up. But yeah, if we never get to see it, yeah, that kind of sucks because I really wanted to end on what was teased at the end of this last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I agree. A comic book show you would have liked to have seen revived other than Young Justice? Again?
I'm certainly in on the Wolverine and the X-Men and Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah, those are both really good
shows.
Yep, agreed.
That just deserved more than they got. I mean, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I mean, y'all know me. I'm not the biggest Marvel person, but again, I will recognize greatness when I see it. And that show was freaking great. And you talk about another Hall of Fame song that I would have put as a ringtone and something to get stuck in my, like I watch a couple episodes of that and I'm walking around for a week singing that song. So yeah, I'm totally in on those. But I would say X-Men 97. Is that what it was? But you know, that's kind of happening. So
that is coming back. Yeah. So we're good on that.
I'm good to that show because you can definitely tell that one was made by fans of that comic book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, Superman, the animated series would certainly make my list. The Justice League, both of those animated series would make my list. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about it for a minute if there's something else I'm missing out on, but
I feel like between you and Brian, you guys kind of covered most of the bases because I agree with almost all these choices. Not sure I have another one that. How about Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? Not the current CGI one where everyone's a Spider-Man, but the 80s one where Spider-Man teamed up with Iceman and Firestar.
Who I love, by the way.
And you know, she was created for that show.
She never took off in the comic books the way that I would have hoped that she would.
I know.
But she's cool. I mean, I loved her powers, her look, everything about her was great.
Yep.
And boy, that episode with the X-Men at the mansion, shoo. They showed that episode like twice the entire time I watched that show.
Well, it's all on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, I know. I got it.
Okay.
But the Electro Guy episode, like 2 straight months of that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with all these choices. These are all great choices.
There was also a Hulk animated series that was kind of paired up with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I'd like to see more of that too, actually.
And then Mount Rushmore of John Carpenter films.
I mean, Halloween and The Thing are 1 and 2 respectively. There's just no question there. The other ones, I'd really have to put some thought in it because I like some Carpenter films that not a lot of people are like way deep into. Like I would have to give at least consideration, if not a spot etched there for Christine. Or a super unpopular one that like 6 people have seen, Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Oh, I love that movie.
I freaking love that movie. I can't get enough of it. I mean, it's fantastic. I watch it at least once a year, and it's not a scary movie by any means, but I dig it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Chevy
Oh,
Chase,
man.
Daryl Hannah, Michael McKean, Sam Neill is the villain. I mean, how do you go wrong with that?
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go Halloween and The Thing. You're right. Those are 1 and 2 easily. Big Trouble has to be number 3.
Great movie.
And then 4. Okay, this is a bit unpopular, but man, I love it. In the Mouth of Madness.
At least you didn't say The Ward. If you said The Ward, I was hanging up.
Nobody's going to say that. Like it objectively, it should probably be Escape from New York, but subjectively, I just love In the Mouth of Madness. I think it is so good.
It's a very good film. I enjoy it. But of the other 2 movies in the Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy, I think I go with Prince of Darkness before I go with In the Mouth of Madness.
It's great too.
And The Fog is really good.
Yep,
I
really
didn't
like
appreciate The Fog as much in my younger age as I do now, but that's a good film. It's eerie. Banger of a theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of banger of a Carpenter theme song, man, have you? I mean, you probably have because you're a score guy, but we never talk about it. Assault on Precinct 13.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh man, what a good one that is.
Yep.
I just saw that movie for the first time last year, by the way.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's very low budget, but it's good.
The remake's pretty solid too, but it's not nearly as good as the original.
Yeah. And I love They Live too. That's another great one.
Oh yes, that would probably be my number 3. Now that you brought it up, that would probably be my 3rd because I adore that film.
Yeah.
And I never really qualify it as a scare-a-thon because to me it's more of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
than a scary
same.
movie, but great film. I just love it. And I can't believe Roddy Piper's acting career didn't explode after that movie, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
I'd have to think about what to put in that last spot, but man, there's so many choices, and there's so few Carpenter movies that somebody would say for that answer, and I'd be like, nah, you're absolutely crazy. There'd be a couple I might say that for, but most of them I'd be like, yeah, I could roll with that.
Mm-hmm. Listen, Carpenter for me is like Tim Burton. I like all of his movies, even the ones that are like his lesser movies. I still like them. I just love him. I
like Village of the Damned, or is it Village of the Damned or Children of the Damned?
Village.
Of the Damned.
Yeah,
I like that one. I don't love it.
That one I haven't seen in ages, so I can't speak to that one, but I need to give it another shot just because Carpenter.
I watched it for Scare-a-thon last year because it was in the $5 bin, and I was like, I saw this in the theater. I didn't mind it, so I'll give it another shot. And I was like, everybody's like, oh, it's awful. It's Carpenter's worst movie. I'm like, y'all need to go back and watch The Ward again because this movie ain't that bad. So The Ward is the only Carpenter movie I can say I definitely don't like.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's move forward. Next message is from John Mercado. It says, hey guys, happy spooky season. It's my favorite time of the year. I wanted to send you an email about a few things. When I was listening to your commentary of either Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, I don't remember which, Jamie mentioned that Schumacher made The Lost Boys. It dawned on me that I had never seen The Lost Boys until 2 years ago, and I enjoyed it so much that I added it to my Scare-a-thon. Do you think the film would have benefited with a darker tone like Lost Boys? Last question, what's your favorite live-action Gotham? Mine would be from Batman 89. Keep the pumpkin spice rolling along with freshly trimmed balls this spooky season. Speaking of which, what's your favorite product of the pumpkin spice variety? Your Bat brother, John. Thanks, John. Good to hear from you. So, okay. For Schumacher's Batman films, would they have benefited from more of a tone like Lost Boys? Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd be hard pressed to make an argument against that.
I just rewatched Lost Boys like 2 weeks ago, and man, I love that movie.
Let me tell you what, I saw that movie in the theater. Me and a buddy of mine in the neighborhood walked up to the theater that was pretty near our house and watched that and walked home. That movie was actually my number one movie for like 2 years until Batman 89 came out. And it's still my favorite vampire movie of all time. I love almost every frame of that film.
Death by Stereo.
Yep. Just great movie.
Yep.
That's one I usually save a certain reserved pack of movies for that last stretch of Scarathon, and that's one of them I normally save for that tail end of it.
Okay, cool. And then favorite live action Gotham.
I mean, it's got to be 89, right?
Yeah. I know it's a not a surprising answer, but it's the answer.
Yeah, I think the aesthetic and design and everything about it just works on so many levels. I can't think of anything that I would place above it. And, I'm one of those people, I don't mind the designs and returns, but I just think 89 was the best of the crop that we've seen so far.
Yep. Anton first, man. This is amazing. And then your favorite pumpkin spice product.
Oh God, that's like asking me to tell you who my favorite kid is, guys. Come on.
It's Quinlan.
Sometimes it just depends on the day, honestly. So, I mean, a buddy of mine has a route that delivers Pepperidge Farm products to various stores around this area. And he just hooked me up with like a big fat box of various pumpkin spice Pepperidge Farm items. And they were all freaking amazing, let me tell you.
Did you get like the pumpkin spice cheesecake cookies?
Yes.
Those are good.
I got those. I got the pumpkin spice Milanos. I got the Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin spice goldfish graham cracker things.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get those?
I have not gotten those. No.
God almighty, go get a bag. Trust me on this. Thank me later. For all of the things, the pumpkin spice Twinkies, I told Andy when we started recording tonight to go down to Walmart and get the Elysian pumpkin beer variety pack, because there's one in there called the Great Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale that would change his life. All you pumpkin fans out there, that information goes for you too. It's incredible. But if I'm coming right down to it, the one item that I adore above all others, and again, I love them all. There are so many great ones out there. Pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with that is the way I order it, which I always get the venti iced pumpkin spice latte made with coconut milk and an extra shot of espresso. And I take the whipped cream out because I like the more natural flavor of the coffee versus getting sweetened up by the whipped cream. I know that's probably not a popular choice, but that's how I do it. And I always leave my barista $1 tip for every Starbucks order that I put in. And I did that earlier this year, and it was not quite, just under $10. So that's the only one I've gotten this year because I cannot justify that cost. And it breaks my heart because I love it.
Starbucks prices have gone up considerably in the past year.
Well, everybody's have. To be fair,
that is true. But
it's not just a Starbucks thing, but I just started this new job a couple months ago. I'm just not in a position where I can afford to go out and get a $10 coffee every day, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just not there.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I would do it, but $6 to $7 range, I could maybe do it. But 10, man, that's a meal. You know what I'm saying? That's just too much.
Yeah, I'll agree with you because it is the Starbucks pumpkin spice that started my love of all the pumpkin spice. So you never forget your first. And so I think that's still my favorite, but yeah, I'll sample anything that puts pumpkin spice on the package.
And man, I've got pumpkin spice Special K cereal. I've got pumpkin spice frosted mini wheats. My cupboards are loaded to the gills with all things pumpkin right now. So don't ask me to choose. Don't ask me to choose.
Yeah. All right. Next message is from Ricky. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast. This podcast remains one of the best out there, and I look forward to every new episode. But the episodes that get me the most excited are when you rank things. The ranking episode of the Batman animated films got me thinking, what about a ranking of the DC animated movie universe? Also, sorry, Jamie, I know the Raiders season has been garbage so far, and I just wanted to let you know it probably won't get better anytime soon, but I'm rooting for you guys. Love, Ricky."
Hey, we just blew out the Broncos last week, so we got the losses out of the way. Now it's time to get on that streak.
All right,
say as we get killed by Kansas City this week.
Good. I know people do love the rankings, and yeah, doing the DC animated universe or animated movie universe is another way to go. Like, we kind of sorted it, but we just did Batman ones, and so to do all the DC ones, yeah, I think that's a good call. And I'll add it to the list, Ricky. All right. One last email here. This is from Julian. It says, "Hey guys, I love the podcast. I was wondering, are you guys aware of the Batman Spawn crossover comic that is coming in December? If so,
I
will you
meant
be
to tell
reading
you
it?"
about this because we were talking about the old one. I don't know, probably a month or so ago, and then I saw some things pop up for this new one. And I was like, oh, I guess I need to go to the comic book shop.
Huh. Yeah, I did not know a new one was coming, honestly, Julian. So thank you for telling me. Will I be reading it? Eventually, which is my answer about reading all comics. Eventually. I'm not great about like the day they come out reading them, but I will get around to them at some point. And I do like Spawn. I was never a Spawn super fan, but I always liked him. So yeah, I'm intrigued.
I liked Spawn. I mean, this is going to sound weird to say because, somebody that loves like Justice League, galactic event level stuff happening and stuff. But Spawn to me worked better when it was smaller scale and didn't involve like this big thing outside of this, homeless people alley that he was hanging out in. I felt like those stories that were smaller and more personal and they just worked so much better. But when it started expanding out into like, here's 36 other Spawns that we can tell you about, it's like, that's cool, but I kind of want to follow Al Simmons' story right now. Just, let me go there and we can come back to this later. Maybe, I don't know. Just that's my take on it anyway.
All right, cool.
But I always liked the character and I read the books for, I don't know, I probably bought the first 30, 35 issues of that book and I enjoyed all of them.
Nice.
And the War Devil comics with Batman. I mean, I read those, but one of them was really super weird. And because there was two different ones, because there was a Batman Spawn and there was a Spawn Batman. And I think they were both called War Devil, if I'm not mistaken. But one was published by Image and one was published by DC. And one of them, like Batman just keeps calling Spawn an undisciplined punk over and over again in the book. And it's like, who's writing this? What? Huh? So that was kind of strange. So anyway, sorry for the tangent.
No, it's okay. I read some of the comics on and off, but I'm far from a Spawn expert.
The HBO animated series is excellent. If you ever get a chance,
I did watch that, and I think it's on HBOMax, and I want to revisit it.
It is.
Cool.
Voiced by Keith David, no less.
I remember. They live. Put on the glasses.
Yes. And something about Mary.
All right, we're going to close the Wayne Manor mailbox right now, but don't worry, we'll be back before you know it. And there are a couple left, but I'm recording in a couple days and I'm saving them. So trying to spread the wealth. So fret not if your email didn't get read. It'll probably get read on the next podcast. But we're going to wrap this baby up, Jamie. Thanks for joining me and cruising with the BatWheels.
Yeah, it was a good time.
They're the BatWheels.
Go check out that show. Kids or no kids, watch the show. Give it a watch on HBOMax. Let Zaslav know he's an idiot.
There you have it. Cool. Well, where can folks find you, Jamie? Or maybe nowhere. Maybe you're in hiding, just eating your pumpkin spice and living in peace. And I respect that.
I'm doing a lot of lurking these days. I just, I'm so busy with work. I just don't have time to do a lot of engaging and whatnot like I probably should or would like to. But on Twitter, you can find me bitching or praising at the Raiders, depending on the given week, at BatRaider3960. Obviously, you can keep up with my Scarathon outings on the Real Fans groups on Facebook and Letterboxd. I'm still trying to keep up with that, but right now with Scarathon, I'm doing a lot of repeat watching, so I'm not getting a lot of new stuff posted in there. But you can check me out on Letterboxd under my name if you would like to do so.
Perfect. Yeah, honestly, that's where I am mostly right now is Letterboxd, just because of Scarathon. And then you're right. I'll open the other apps, but I'm not in the mood to say anything these days. Like just like, I open it and I go, why did I open it? Close it. I'm still there though. I already told you guys where to find me. But that'll do it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. Jamie, thank you again for making the time. I know with the new job and with Scarathon and with kids and birthdays, and I know it's busy, so I hope you know it's appreciated. And for everybody out there listening, we know you're busy too, and I appreciate you listening. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening to the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you love the show, please leave us a review. Do that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your shows, because a few kind words helps. It helps get the word out, and it helps people find the show, and we would love that. You can go to holybatcast.com, or again, find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. A big thank you, as always, to Gaurav Venkateswar. His work can be found at gvtunes.com. He created our theme music. Very talented guy. And don't forget to check out our sponsors. If you're going to do a little online shopping, if you're avoiding work, go to manscaped.com, peruse. If you're going to make a purchase, that promo code is BATSCAPED. Or check out our new sponsor at trueclassic.com. True Classic Tees. If you find something you like there, use BatCast and you get 25% off. So big thank you to Manscaped and True Classic. We appreciate that. But that will do it. On behalf of Jamie, I've been Andy. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. And shake off the cobwebs. Blah, 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 blah. Vocal exercises. You need unique New York. Okay. Here we go.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
That bitch sells some seashells somewhere.
I like that one. I'm going to use that.
Okay.